Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to create and connect to private EC2 instances. Here are the steps that we are going to follow. So we'll create a VPC with a private subnet. We'll create a security group with port 22 open. And then we'll create EC2 Instance Connect Endpoint. That way, we'll be able to connect to the private EC2 instance. Let me show you how to do this on my AWS console. I've logged into my account and I'm working in US West 1 region. So the first thing we are going to do is to create a VPC. So let's go ahead and do that. So you can search for VPC and then click on VPC and then create VPC. Then here we'll click on VPC and more, so that we don't have to create each component individually. Now we'll give it a name. So I'll just do project-01. The CIDR block, we are leaving that as default. No IPv6, default. Availability zone, we have 2. No public subnet, so I'm choosing 0 for that. We are keeping the 2 private subnets. There's none, right? And then go ahead and click create VPC. Now that we've created our VPC, we're going to move on to EC2. So you can type that, search for that, EC2. Now we are going to create EC2. We will give it a name. I'll just say test. And then we need to choose our AMI. I'm choosing Ubuntu AMI. I'll keep these settings here default. We are not selecting any key. Let's click on that so we can proceed without a key. And then for network settings, click on edit, so that we want to be in our VPC, and this is the VPC we just created. We will not assign public IP, and then we need to create a security group. So here we are on create security group. We want to give it a name, so I'll do test, and then I'll put the same name here for the description. And then we need to open port 22. So if you can see here, for SSH, which is opening port 22 for us, that's the only port that we need to open. Everything looks good, so go ahead and click on launch instance. Okay, whilst the instance is launching, we will go back to VPC. And then we're going to create a VPC endpoint. So go ahead and click on endpoints. So create endpoint. We will give the name as test. And then we are creating the endpoint for EC2. So we are using the EC2 Instance Connect Endpoint. Then here we will choose our VPC. And then we will choose the security group that we just created, and then we will select the subnet that we are creating the endpoint for. So it can be any of the available subnets that we have in our region or the VPC. So go ahead and create endpoint. So it's gonna take about a minute for the endpoint to be ready, and we'll continue on when the endpoint status is active. The endpoint is still pending, so let's go back and check our EC2 instance, which is running here. The status check has passed, so let's see if we can connect to this EC2 instance. I've already created a video on how to use connect to your EC2 using SSH, and also under EC2 Instance Connect we've also looked at how to use the EC2 Instance Connect. So today we are checking on this one, and so our endpoint is still in pending, so we will wait for the endpoint to be available so that we will see if we can connect to our EC2 instance. Now we can see that the VPC endpoint is available, so we will go back to our EC2 and try to connect again. So this is our EC2, so I'll click here. So this is the endpoint. When I click on refresh, it has reloaded. So now you can see that the connect button here is active. So when you click on connect, then you'll be able to connect to your private EC2 instance. Alright, thanks for joining me in this short video on how to connect to private EC2 instance using EC2 endpoint. In the next video, I'm going to show you the most secure way to connect to your EC2 instance using the session manager. Alright, thanks for joining me and hope to see you in the next one.